What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another live player prop talk here on the channel. As always, I hope this finds you doing well and in good spirits. Hope everybody had a good night yesterday. Hope your slips were on the up and up. Hopefully we don't have too many turds to talk about, meaning your slips were profitable, but I'm sure there was at least one player in your slips that caused you some headache, heartache, and whatnot. Go ahead and hit that like button on your way in. Truly means a ton. If you're new to the stream, if you're new to the channel, definitely hit the like button, but also leave me a comment in the chat. Let me know you're new. And when we get to our player prop questions, I'll be sure to bump your question up to the top of the list as a way to say thanks for stopping by and checking the stream out. What is up, Seaver Warner? What's going on, man? Good morning to you. Let's get this going. Taco Tuesday is in full effect today. Be interesting to see what tacos they throw out if we get multiple MLB tacos. We'll see what we got going on today, but Taco Tuesday, we got something to look forward to. Bankroll builder are these tacos, so take advantage of them. Definitely take advantage of them. We'll talk about those in the stream today, but as always, we'll get off to the most morbid start we can possibly get off to, and that is this interesting fact. Over 10% of the US population dies overnight. They die in their sleep. It's tragic. It's terrible. However, it is life and death. You are not one of those people. If you're listening to this and watching this, you are on the right side of that percentage. So hashtag bless. What you do with your day is totally up to you. I encourage you to value the day. Do something with it. You make your bed. Make your bed. That shit feels good. When you make your bed, you walk into your room and your room is ready to roll. It's clean. Sheets are nice and pressed. Have a bad day. You walk into that room. Boy, feels good. That could be the only good thing in your day. That bed being made. Make your bed. Start there. That's a good way to start your day off. No joke. All right, we're moving on. We're talking about death. We're talking about turds. We're going to top this off with some injury news. And then we'll get into some plays. I got a few plays that I want to share with you. I also have a home run call. We'll get into that in the next few minutes here. So quite a bit to go over. And as always, we got your player prop questions to go over. So be sure to put those in the chat and we'll get to those. Seaver, you got any turds of the day, man? You got your turd from yesterday? Anybody treat you bad yesterday in your slips? I know for me, it was Jabari Walker. Took the under on his PRA. He was one of my plays yesterday, and it looked real good going into the fourth quarter. And something about the Blazers really not showing up in the first half. Game kind of gets out of hand, or I don't know what exactly happens, but the second half is when they kind of turn up in terms of hitting their props, not winning games, but just hitting their props. And Jabari Walker finishes with 18, 9, and 5, finishes with 33 PRA. He was sitting on 15 going into the fourth quarter and absolutely goes off, plays 40 minutes. So we talked about this with Scoot. It might be time to start taking some overs on these Trailblazers, however many games are left. If not, then taking the under on their first half, because the second half is when these dudes show up, and they're getting big minutes in the second half. So maybe avoid them altogether, or maybe just take the over on their first half, or under on their first half and over on second half. If you're paying attention to the PrizePicks board when those update, maybe take the over on their second half, because that is when they're showing up. They're definitely not doing anything in the first half. It's been a hard pill to swallow this year. playing these kind of props. Siakam rebounds went under. Yeah. Siakam goes under, and then Miles Turner got hurt yesterday. I saw his rebound prop. I played it at 7.5. He ends with 6, which it didn't surprise me that he had 6. But then I saw that I had a reboot in my slips. I had played a different prop of his, and it got rebooted. I think I took the over on his points, and so I wasn't sure how it got rebooted. He only played 14 minutes. I just really thought he played limited minutes because of the blowout, but apparently he got hurt, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Siakam going under was a little surprising, but the blowout, pretty much the only starter that put in work was Halliburton. He had Jalen Smith giving you a double-double. And then just kind of a lot of the same types of props. Like pretty much everybody scored double figures in points. And then, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Just no big lines yesterday. Mikal Bridges goes over points, 18.5. He finishes with 19. I mean, those hooks are brutal. So it was one of those days. Real frustrating. Haniger would have hit Demon. Oh man, those are the worst. Yeah, when a player gets caught stealing and it ends the inning, that's the worst. Or like they get thrown out trying to like push the double into a triple or single into a double. Those are tough. Cody Bellinger hooked you. What did Cody Bellinger have? What'd you play? A couple of MLB props that did work out for us in the Discord were Acuna's fantasy score. The Will Benson prop, boy, that was really sweaty. The over hit runs and RBIs it was 0.5 hit runs and RBIs, which is a really good line for him. He got on with a walk, and then the next batter, I forgot I didn't get his name, hits a grand slam. He hits a grand slam, and Spencer Steer hits a grand slam, and it drives him in, and he scores a run. And that's how he goes over his hits, runs, and RBIs. He was 0 for 3, 0 for 4 at the plate. That was really sweaty. But it worked. Oh, fantasy, 7.5. Yeah. The positive thing about the fantasy score on PrizePicks is that you don't get any deduction for strikeouts like on DraftKings and FanDuel. I think FanDuel deducts points for strikeouts, but if you play on PrizePicks or any of these pick'em sites, I don't believe strikeouts, like a batter strikeout, works against you. Like in the NBA, if you turn the ball over, it deducts. All right. So we have Jabari Walker, Siakam, Cody Bellinger. So we did have a few. turds. Aaron Judge not getting over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. That was tough. 5 at-bats. Aaron Judge had 5 at-bats yesterday. Managed to get 1 hit. No, he managed to get an RBI. 2 strikeouts. So not the best day for him. Teoscar has been on fire. Bobby Witt's been on fire. Bobby Witt he's been on a level. I don't know how sustainable it is, but he definitely has been crushing. Seth Brown went 1 for 4 yesterday. We talked about his demon prop. Stewie Ruiz, very sneaky because he has stolen base upside. If he can get on base, he's an RBI. Well, he's a run scoring threat. So if he gets on base, he can still second. And then if he scores a run, I mean, that's 9 fantasy points right there. Those are fun to play. All right, let's move on. We talked about death. We talked about turds. Let's talk about injury news going on in the NBA. We got a big list of out. So Lillard is out. Markkanen is out. Kuzma, Collins, Johnson, Sohan. I mean, the whole, 3/5 of the starting lineup for the Spurs is ruled out. We got RJ Barrett and Quickly back, and now Gary Trent is sitting down. And then a bunch of role players here. Questionable SGA. Jalen Williams is questionable. Kuminga. Maxi. Got some names on there. And then we know more than likely Barrett, Quickly, Jackson Hayes, and Caleb Martin will play today. So another one of those days where you have to keep your eyes open for injury news, because this will change. And a lot of those players that are questionable will get moved down or up. They'll either get moved into probable or they'll get ruled out altogether. I guess the ones that are not that you maybe had your eyes on SGA and Jalen Williams, but if those guys do sit, then the value that opens up on OKC, that's where you probably want to attack. But you can get a jump on it now. You know, yesterday, Jaylen Brown and Porzingis were on the injury report. And before Jaylen Brown got ruled out, I want to say Derek White's numbers were pretty good. And then they started bumping up during the day. And by the time Jaylen Brown got ruled out, Derek White's lines had bumped up a couple of times. So this is the time to take advantage of it. You see a player that's going to be questionable, or you know, you assume they're going to be ruled out. You start looking at the other players on that team. Hopefully you get some value. You can lock in some value with those other players. All right. We are moving on to today's plays. I got 3 plays. We'll recap our plays from yesterday. I got 3 plays today. And then I have a home run call. I have a 4-bagger swagger call for today. If you can't find this player's home run prop, you can definitely play their fantasy score, because typically when a player goes over, typically when a player hits a home run, they will go over fantasy score, assuming their fantasy score is not 15 or 16 points. So we'll talk about that here. As always, all player prop research is brought to you by props.cash. If you want to check this out for yourself, stick around. We use it in real time here on the stream. But if you want to use that promo code on the screen, that'll get you 25% off your first month on props.cash. And we move on. Yesterday's plays, we go 1 and 2 with these plays yesterday. So not the best day. Unfortunately, these 3 plays were on the free sheet in the Discord. Our premium cheat sheet did pretty well yesterday. We were 67% hit rate with our premium cheat sheet. However, the free sheet, 2 and 2 yesterday. That was very, very disappointing. I thought we had the under on Jabari Walker for about 32 minutes of that game, and it didn't went out the window real fast in the fourth quarter. Aaron Judge, 5 at-bats. You would think 5 at-bats, he can't get 2 bases. Miles Turner did go under, finished with 6. So that's 1 and 2 on the day. Not the best day, but brand new free sheet posted in the premium section of the Discord, and our cheat sheet is already posted in the premium section of the Discord. 3 plays for today, brand new plays that I want to talk about. These have already been posted in the Discord. I like the over Adam Duvall, 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Now, an alternative line to this are his hits. You can find just his hits on HOTSTREAK. That's in a good spot. Jose Caballero, over 0.5 bases. This remains a good play. If he's in the lineup, yesterday he got scratched. So if he gets scratched, then he can't play. So as long as he's in the lineup, he's in a good spot. You can play this particular line on PrizePicks, Underdog, and HOTSTREAK. And then Donovan Mitchell over 22.5 points. I have a feeling this one's going to bump at some point. You can find this over on HOTSTREAK, and you can find it over on Underdog. Going back to Utah to take on the Jazz, I also like his first quarter points on Underdog at 5. He's hit 5 in every game, 8 out of the last 10 games. We'll look at this over on props.cash, but there are quite a few props that look good for him. We said the same shit about him on Sunday, though. He was in a good spot, and I liked a lot of his plays, and they got blown out by the Denver Nuggets. Hopefully good Lord, if they get blown out by the Utah Jazz today, that's a wrap for the season. I may not play another NBA game until the playoffs start if that happens, but he's in a good spot to score a bunch of points today. So those are my 3 plays. I got them over in the Discord. I've already played them in a few different slips. Those slips have been posted in the Discord as well. Moving on to our 4-bagger swagger call for today. I like the upside here for Elly De La Cruz. Now, I mentioned that if you can't find his home run prop, then you can definitely look to his fantasy score, because it is hard to find a home run prop on every site. Usually PrizePicks does not release the home run lines until later in the afternoon. But however, you can find a home run prop on HOTSTREAK. So if you want to play his home run prop, you can look for it on HOTSTREAK. The next best line would be his fantasy score, because again, if he hits a home run, he goes over fantasy score over on PrizePicks. So we're going to head over to PrizePicks now. We're going to pull up the dash and we're going to look at a few plays, and then we'll start taking your player prop questions. We'll add them to the board, and we'll make the most out of this Taco Tuesday. All right. So moving into PrizePicks, just letting my screen refresh. All right, so let's look up Elly De La Cruz, and we're going to look up all his lines. So right here, you have his fantasy score. So obviously, if he hits a home run, a solo home run is 14 points. So that's an easy one. However, the upside for his fantasy score is there because of the stolen base upside for Elly De La Cruz. So if you don't want to play his home run prop, his fantasy score is in a good spot. We're going to take a look at his numbers versus Turnbull today, but I like that one. Let's take a look also. I'm going to throw Duvall up here. And you could run a little stack of Braves, maybe a 2 or 3 man stack. And Adam Duvall is not even on PrizePicks anymore. So a lot of the times these plays get taken off. By the time we do the live stream, unfortunately, these plays get removed. I don't know if they're just that good of a play or what, but that's why I try to get him out in the Discord really early in the morning. So what's left are just all his demons. You can take the hitter strikeout prop, but we don't want him to strike out today. We want him to get on base. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to look at his hits, runs, and RBIs prop. But what we can do is just look at let's just throw his RBI prop up there so that we have something to take a space, and then we'll look at it over on props.cash. And Caballero he's been removed. He's still playable on HOTSTREAK and Underdog. So check him out there. I'm just going to throw this one up there so that we can take a space on the board, and we'll look at it over on props.cash. So all these plays have been pretty much bumped or removed. What's going on, Shy? What's up, Knuckles? What's going on? What is that word? Con 27 SP. Is that how I say that? Am I saying that correct? What's up? Either way, welcome to the stream. This PrizePicks got me yesterday. I had Bobby Witt fantasy. What did he end up with yesterday? His fantasy score. Oh my gosh. Wait, you took the under or over? He finished with 29 fantasy points yesterday. Gotcha. All right. I'm just catching up on the chat. All right. Man, Bobby Witt's been on fire. He didn't hit a home run yesterday. I think, would he have two? He did hit a home run. Yeah. Am I looking at the right day? No, I'm not. My bad. My bad. I'm looking at Sunday the 31st, and I'm like, he had 29 points. So I'm looking at the wrong day. They weren't on the schedule yesterday. Yes, they were. Bobby Witt yesterday had 22 fantasy points. He hit another home run. This dude is insane. Oh, I got you. I got you. All right. I want to look at these three first over on props.cash. And then y'all just start throwing some player prop questions in the chat, and we'll just break as many down as we can for the next 35-40 minutes. Unfortunately, two of my favorite plays on the board removed from the board: Duvall over hits, runs, and RBIs, and not Oswaldo Caballero. Did they just take all his props off? For now, I'll just throw his total bases up there because on PrizePicks they took it down at 0.5. Last time I checked, it's still on Underdog and it is still on HOTSTREAK. You may be able to find it on Sleeper, but PrizePicks, I mean, after a few hours of these plays being on the board, they just take them off. All right. Let's head over to props.cash. Let's fire this up and let's just take a quick look at these three. Donovan Mitchell is also on that cheat sheet at 22.5 points. His assists are also in play, and his first quarter points at 5 on Underdog. I really like those. First quarter points can be really frustrating, but if you target players who are heavy, who soak up a lot of usage and the ball's gonna be in their hands, that's the upside you're looking for. Role players, first quarter points are real tough because they can get phased out real fast, especially if that go-to guy is just soaking up all the shots. And that guy happens to be Donovan Mitchell for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I like looking at his first quarter point. Just kind of stumbled on that one over on Underdog. But let's take a look at Adam Duvall. So we were looking at his, by the way, you can find his hits on HOTSTREAK too. But his hits, runs, and RBIs was the one that we had up on 2 books, minus 140 on each book to go over. So really good odds to start the year off. In this series with the Phillies, he has totaled 6 hits, runs, and RBIs. Split versus Garrett Crochet. There's very little here, just 1 plate appearance. So we'll look at the righty-lefty matchup. Now, against lefties, Duvall is not performing well. He did not do all that well last season. Limited plate appearances, so real lopsided here. You're not going to get the same sample size if you have different plate appearances. A little bit of power. We don't need him to hit a home run today. Really what we're looking for is him to get on base and then him to score a run. Or if somebody's on base, we're looking for him to get a hit and an RBI. And that'll pretty much do it. Obviously, a home run would do it as well. Now, Crochet versus righties last season in 42 plate appearances did a great job of limiting power. Last season's last season. This is this season. This one's grading out really well. If you don't like the hits, runs, and RBIs prop, find his hit prop at 0.5. That's in a good spot as well. So yesterday, Caballero got scratched, and that happens sometimes, especially if a player is like a platoon player or just a role player and he's in there for the lefty-righty, righty-lefty matchup or something like that. There's so many players on the MLB roster, they're just swapping them in and out. Whoever works out best that day is gonna get the starting nod. But Hopefully he does play today. He's in a good spot to get us that 1 hit or total base. They're the same prop, total base and hit. You can't get a total base without actually getting a hit. So whichever one offers you the best payout, that's the one you play. If they're both equal, then just pick one. They're the same. In terms of his total base prop, 0.5, hit is 0.5 as well. He's projected to go over both of these. 3 books like the over on his total base prop and 3 books like the over on his hit prop. We can take a look at his numbers versus Andrew Heaney. Most of this was done in Seattle, I'm assuming. 6 plate appearances, pretty low batting average. He does have a double. He does have an RBI. Numbers against lefties. Numbers against lefties, bit better. Bit more production across the board with doubles, extra base hits, better average as well. Heaney versus righties, 513 batters faced last season. There's not a whole lot of sample size this season, but giving up most of the power to that side of the plate. Again, 0.5 total bases, 0.5 hits is such a low line. As long as you're starting, number one. Number two, as long as you are getting anywhere between 3 to 4 plate appearances, I mean, that should be plenty. I like those 3. So it might be time to start transitioning over to MLB as well as the NBA season winds down. I think we start seeing like these weird ass rotations or just teams resting players. And if we get the heads up that players are going to be out and rested, then it's easy. We can just avoid those things. But if nobody gets ruled out and then after a quarter, the starters sit, we can't predict that kind of stuff's going to happen. Coaches don't let people know that kind of stuff. So it might be time to start fully transitioning over to MLB until the NBA playoff season, until the NBA playoffs start. Let's see. Knuckles, Ronald Acuna, 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Is that his demon prop or is that his real prop? His regular line. Let's see. That's his regular line. You like that one over his total bases? I already put it on the board. We'll look at that. Let me show you this Donovan Mitchell play for his either points or his full game points or first quarter points. So full game points, 22.5. That's what I saw it at this morning. I know this is gross. I mean, blowout here. I mean, the second half of the season for him has not been a good one. But this is a great spot for him, not only because it's against the Jazz and the narrative and all those things, but every player needs a get right game. And this has that written all over it. Against a very depleted Jazz team, I don't even fear a blowout in this game. I think this game being on the road, I don't think it's a 50-point blowout like the Blazers lost to the Heat. Maybe a little less than that, but I think this game stays close enough to where Mitchell is scoring more than 22.5 points. I know the odds don't look good. The projections don't look good, but across the board at 22.5, DraftKings likes it, Caesars likes it, BetMGM and PointsBet. FanDuel's the only one that doesn't like it, so those odds don't look good. He's due. He's due. This is ridiculous. This is 10, 12 points below his season average. This is ridiculous. Looking at his first half, or looking at his first quarter points. Now, what I saw it over on Underdog this morning, it was at 5. 5. He has scored 5 or more in 70% of his last 10 games. So even all those games where he's not going over full game total, he's going over first quarter total. So he's starting off strong. Against the Jazz in 2 games, 12 and 11. I know that's last season, but that is all we got to go on. 5 is a really good number to target. He's pushed or gone over. He doesn't go under very often. The next prop, assist, full game assist at 4.5. If you still see it at 4.5, this is a pretty good spot. Minus 156 to go over. At 5.5, you can see the difference in odds. It's bumped up by now. If not, it will be. Projected for 5 assists. Numbers against the Jazz. 6-1. But over his last 10 games, he's gone over this in 80%. So there's still a lot to like here for Donovan Mitchell. If you don't like his points, I think his assists look good. If you don't like those, first quarter points look good on Underdog. And if you don't like that one, then probably going to stay away from this one. All right, let's look at this Acuna play. And we're going to go back to MLB. I want to look at this Acuna play over 2.5. Hits, runs, and RBIs. Appreciate y'all being here. Hit that like button as you walk in. New to the chat, new to the stream. Let me know in the chat, and I'll be sure to get to your question ASAP. All right, so 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for Acuna to start the year off. This series against the Phillies, he has gone over in 3 out of the 4 games. Now we're on to a new series versus the White Sox. But in that first series, he cooked 14 total hits, runs, and RBIs, averaging 9, 10, 14 divided by 4. Almost 4 per game. Little over 3. It's a good spot. 2 books that like it, DraftKings and BetMGM, minus 125 to the over. His projection today is 3.35. It's not too high. You would round that down to 3, but that's exactly what he needs to go over. So it's a high line and it's a high projection, and I think they correlate. You like the odds here. His numbers against Crochet. We just looked at Duvall against Crochet. Numbers against lefties last season. Acuna did so well versus righties that the numbers against lefties grayed out red. You're batting over 300 against lefties with 8 homers, 7 doubles, and 25 singles. That's a really good split. Just so happens that he wrecked righties so bad that it just makes his lefty numbers look kind of average. Crochet against righties, we already looked at this, but Acuna getting on base shouldn't be a problem. I don't know what the starting lineup is in terms of the batting order, but if obviously Acuna leads off, if he is able to get on base, I don't know how far down the list Duvall bats, if it's 3rd or 4th or 5th. It's possible that Duvall can drive him in with an RBI single or something like that, and that's good correlation. And you start checking off, chipping away at both of those props at the same time. That's how those 2 players can help each other. But that one looks good. And still, until we start seeing Acuna's numbers get bumped up to 3.5 per game, something like that, I think 2.5 is a good line to attack. I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm going to take this Duvall demon off as well as a Caballero demon off. The only reason I had them up there was just because we didn't have their original line. I just wanted to look them up real quick. But we got Acuna up there. We got De La Cruz fantasy score. If you're just joining the stream, I like De La Cruz for a home run today. If you don't like him for a home run today, then you can play his fantasy score as an alternate, because if he hits a home run, he definitely goes over fantasy score. However, if he doesn't hit a home run, he has stolen base upside. That's 5 points right there. So gets on with a single, steals second, scores a run. There's 9 points right there. It may not happen like that in that order, but throughout the game, those 3 things should happen: hit, stolen base, score a run. All right, let's get to your player props. We looked up a few, but I'm starting to see the chat fill up a little bit. What's going on, Vu? Good morning. Divine, what's up, man? Jalen Rose, what's up? Let's do it. We'll be bouncing back and forth, Jalen, between MLB and baseball. So, yeah, whatever player prop I see in the chat, we're just going to throw it up on the board, and we're going to look at it over on PrizePicks in no particular order. So, yeah, throw them in there. Brooke Lopez under blocks and steals. Sabonis. I see Sabonis in there. RA. Fox points. Kawhi points. Curry points. Luka RA. Freddie Freeman. Bellinger. Goldsmith. Max Muncy. Correa. All great hitters today. What props are you looking at them? Are you looking at, Jalen, for those guys? Let me know. We'll put a few up on the board. Let's go to the NBA. Barrett is back. People are all over his assist prop right now. Austin Reeves. I don't know if it's still on Sleeper. 10.5 RA. It's been bumped up to 11 on PrizePicks. You can still probably find it in another place. Brooke Lopez under 2.5 blocks and steals. Sabonis under. What I see that? Sabonis. Oh, Sabonis RA, not under or over. I'm assuming you like the over on this one, Divine. Or let me know. We'll change it. We'll look at Fox points. Might as well just throw Kawhi in there also, since it's in the same game. What's up, Mel? Good morning. Good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. All right. Over. Gotcha. Let me real quick. This was standing out earlier, and I don't know if it's still at the same line. It got bumped up. Bryce Sensabaugh, 10.5 points. That's playable. Man, where was that? Bryce Sensabaugh was on underdog at 10.5 points. No Markkanen, no John Collins. All right. So I want to look at his numbers. They're not going to be the best game logs because he is not a full-time starter. He's just going to get a ton of usage today. Kind of like what we saw with kind of like what we're seeing in Toronto with like Ochai Agbaji, when Barrett and Quickly and Scotty Barnes were all out, and that guy was just soaking up usage. Similar situation. So we can look at his point prop at 10.5. It looked real good, but he's in a good spot. He's in a real good spot. See, Jalen likes the under PRA for Barrett minute. Oh, you think, is he going to be on a minutes restriction, or you think he's going to be on a minute? It makes sense if you think that, but I don't know if there was an official announcement. Under PRA. And then Knuckles has a tennis prop. Monfils under. Over total games. This one here, Gail Monfils and Roca, over total games. I tell you what, let me take this Bryce Sensabaugh out and put this Roca Monfils in there since that was up on a board prior. So that gives us 6. All right, let's look at. I tell you what, let's start this LA Sacramento game. We got 3 players from that game, and then we'll look at Barrett, Brooke Lopez, and then you got this tennis play down here. Mel says taking the over on Bryce PRA. Yeah, I think that's still a good one. I'll screenshot that in the next round. All right. Let's do this. Last game of the night, Sac and LA. So let's start with the Sabonis RA sitting at 22 and a half. All right. We've seen the drop off happen with him over the last 10 games. And it's crazy to think that 20, 21, 22, 17 is a drop off for a lot of players. That shit's like, that's highlight. This is routine. We just got so used to him putting up 25, 30. So now he needs 23 to go over this line. Over his last 10, 40% hit rate, 20% hit rate in his last 5. Numbers against the Clippers, 1 game he has gone over. We have 3 games to look at this year. The cool thing about those last 3 games is that there's this nice little ascension there, 8, 13, and 27. Now, I don't think it gets any higher than that. I think that's like the peak. But anywhere between 27 and 23, that would be great. He doesn't have to get 30 in this game. But that is kind of cool how we're seeing that progression. Projection doesn't really look good, and that's fine. Let's look at the odds. Odds in favor of the over at 22.5. We got under on FanDuel, under on DraftKings, under on Caesars, and then under on PointsBet. You have a little juice going to the over, but most of that is going to be on the under. Minus 160 at 23.5. Oof. That's a huge number, but at 22.5, this one is just getting a lot of juice to the under. Making sure that it is 22.5. It is. Okay. But those are his game logs. 5, 10, head-to-head, and then projections. Is there any projection that looks good for him today? Points at 18.5. Yeah, he's been struggling. Against the Clips, 3 straight games of under points. Now his odds on this one at 18.5. You got 2 books. Both of them like the over, but the odds just really aren't popping. Like, they're a little muddy. Let's look at De'Aaron Fox points. We got his points at 26.5 over on PrizePicks. Quite the opposite. It's like Sabonis is taking the foot off the gas and De'Aaron Fox is taken over in the driver's seat, and now he's performing on a different level over his last 5. Or let's look at the last 3 games against the Clips, 2 out of 3, and then over the last 10 games. Take that back. What I just said was based off the games versus the Clippers. Last 10 games, not the best. So we're seeing a lot of red here for the Kings. And these aren't terrible point totals. They're just not enough to go over this current line. I'm sure a few of these games no. We've seen his points get upwards of 30 per game. In order for him to have gone over these points, his point prop would have to have been 24.5 or lower. And we're not really seeing that for De'Aaron Fox all that often. So I think these are pretty accurate. I think they're showing red because he just didn't hit that game's prop. And now it's a little higher. Yeah, against the Clippers, though, he does perform well. So you have that going for you. Whereas Sabonis against the Clippers doesn't seem to bring it. De'Aaron Fox, 3 games this season, 2 games of 33 or more. Projection today for De'Aaron Fox is right at 26. I bet you this is our taco. I bet you this is our taco. I would like to see a different name that's not Brunson or SGA or Fox. Is there anything else for De'Aaron Fox that pops that we could look at outside of his points? 4.5 rebounds for De'Aaron Fox. I don't know if that's available on PrizePicks, but if at 4.5 you can find that line, it's getting you really good odds. 5 straight games he's gone over this. In 10 games he's gone over this in 80%. And against the Clippers, he's gone over this in 2 out of 3 games played this season. He is projected for 6.5 rebounds today. It's a lot. Over. That one looks like the best line, but if you can't find it at 4.5, what about points and rebounds? Points and rebounds look okay. Rebounds alone look good. Points alone, the best data point we have for just his points are his numbers against the Clippers, where he's gone over in 2 or 3 games, but against the rest of the league over the last 10 games, not the best lines. All right, let's look at Kawhi Leonard's points. 3 games versus Sacramento, 2 over, 1 under over his last 10 games. Scratch that. Let's go back. So points against Sacramento, still the same. 2 out of 3 games. Over his last 10 games, scoring 24 or 25 or more. He's gone over this in 4 games out of the last 10, and then his last 5, just 2. Man, this game looks like it sucks, man. Like these game logs are bad. I don't know. Are the books just expecting a very slow game, like a very ugly game? The odds on his points are slightly better than what we saw for either Sabonis and Fox. 1, 2, 3, 4 books like the over, with 1 book, FanDuel, liking the under, but just by a little bit. So there's not a huge difference in numbers there. Projected for 23. He needs 24. He needs 25. Yeah. These 2 teams play each other well, though. Like Fox against the Clippers and Leonard against the Kings. The numbers head to head look good. It's just the 10 and 5 games that look bad. All right, let's look at Barrett, and then let's look at Lopez, actually. Let's look at Brook Lopez. Milwaukee on the road against the Wizards. Anybody sitting today for Milwaukee? Do they need all hands on deck to win this game? No Kuzma tonight. So I don't know if that hurts or helps the Wizards in terms of value opening up, or does that hurt them in terms of being less likely to keep this game within reach? You know, like missing one of your players. Now, are you just going to get blown out by a wider score? Let's look at his blocks and steals. So we like the under on his blocks and steals. This one is at 2.5 over on PrizePicks. You're getting 2 games out of his last 10. So that is a very bad hit rate, 20%, and then 20% over his last 5. His numbers against Washington, however, dating back to last year, 5 straight games of 4+ blocks and steals. 2 games this year with 5 in each game. That is a hell of a difference between the rest of the league. So he shows up for the Wizards. But the odds like the under on this one. So either go with the odds and the projections, or if you are a team history person, then you're going with the over because you really like what you're seeing here. That is very difficult to ignore, but just because it happened last game does not mean it's going to happen this game. RJ Barrett, under PRA, minutes restriction for him. The Raptors are not in playoff contention, right? Are they in play-in contention? RJ Barrett PRA. So this one is set to 28.5 over on PrizePicks. He is projected for 25.6, so you'd round up. His last game played was March 11th. He gave you 42 PRA. That's a different game though. That's playing full minutes. That's no restrictions, like normal game. First game back, you would think that he's on a minutes count. Versus the Lakers, 2 out of 4 games he's gone over. 1 game this season, but again, a few months ago, a lot has changed. You pay attention to the projections, you like those, but then let's look at the odds at 28.5. We got 2 books that like the under, or excuse me, you got 2. Whoa, hold on. These lines are all over the place. 27.5 on FanDuel. They like the over. 28.5, PointsBet doesn't know what to do with it, but at 29.5. If this one gets bumped up to 29, why would you not take the under on that one? That you're getting 3 different lines. I hope they don't make him the taco today. I hate seeing this many lines for one player prop. I hope they don't make him the taco today. But at 28.5, the under does look good. At 29.5, the under looks real good. Real quick, let's look up this Bryce Sensabaugh. We can look at his points, we can look at his PRA. Now, there isn't a big sample size with Markkanen and John Collins off the floor for him. This game does matter. So let's take Markkanen out. Let's take John Collins out. And you got 2 games played, 29 PRA, and then the other game, the 7th, on the 16th, he got you 17. His points at 10.5 look great. They are bumped up to 11.5. So the difference between these 2 games obviously is the competition in Minnesota versus Sacramento. 2 different teams, 2 different paces, but also two different games altogether, where he played 27 minutes against Minnesota and 34 against Sacramento. In the game against Minnesota, he got you 8 points, but played almost 8 minutes less. 8 minutes, that's a lot of extra time. If you got an additional 8 minutes here, you would assume he can get you the over on that PRA. The shot volume is the same, more efficient versus Sacramento. Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything changing. If those guys remain out, then you should see 30+ minutes for him. You should see him take double-digit shot attempts. This is a good spot. And it's a pretty low line considering his usage is going to be pretty high today. So that's not a bad one. All right, let's screenshot these. We like the over. We still like the over. The Sabonis, Fox, and Leonard. After seeing Raptors number 12 in the East, 13 game. Okay, yeah, they're done. They're done. Right. All right, let's. I like the Lopez under. I tell you what. I like the overs on these guys just because of what they do against when they play each other. They play each other very well. Fox plays the Clippers well, and Leonard plays the Kings well. Sabonis just struggles against the Clippers. I saw something about Zubac. Oh, Knuckles said, yeah, he's big as hell. Yeah, he's big as hell. All right, let's screenshot these. Let's screenshot these, and then I'll throw them over in the Discord. And then we'll clear this out. Yeah, I'm tired of the Fox taco too. I'm tired of that shit. Fox, is it Fox or Brunson? Would you consider Fox or Brunson this year's Trae Young? Remember last season? Trae Young was a taco like every other week. It was ridiculous. I think he had like 4 tacos last year. I think Fox and Brunson are up there. Shea too. All 3 of those dudes have been really, really popular for Taco Tuesday. Fox is going to put on his PrizePicks uniform today. If you're taking the under on him, that'd be great. All right, let's see. We got Jalen says, hook up a full game stack for the Clippers game. 3 men from both teams. We got any more questions in there? All right. All right, let's do this. Clippers and... Wait, what'd you ask for? Clippers, okay. All right. So let's pull up the Clippers first. Let's see if we can create a 6-man stack in this game. All right. All right, so Zubac is the first player up on the board. Looking at his numbers here. Harden's assists were popping for the under at 9.5. I didn't play it at 9.5, but everything looked good at 9.5. Now they've been bumped down to 9. Looking at the under for Harden's PRA, though. Could also look at the under for his 3-pointers made. He's just not that volume guy. He's not the Houston James Harden knocking down 5-6 threes a game anymore. Like, that's just not what he's doing in LA. Yet his 3-point prop remains 2.5 every single game. He will go over this at some point, but you look at the track record, it's a very low hit rate. We can look at one of those two. Let's see. We didn't look at Kawhi Leonard's PRA. We did look at his points. His last 10 games have not been great. His numbers against the Kings have been really good. His PRA, though, his PRA isn't aligned with his points. So he's not going over points. He typically doesn't go over PRA. Against the Kings, yeah, they're directly associated. So he goes over points, he goes over PRA. Just looking at his PRA at 33.5, he's flatlining right at 33, 32 in a lot of these games. He is projected for 34 PRA, and his numbers on the under at 33, minus 120 and minus 115. The books are just not giving anything for this game. They're not giving you anything to work with. They're making you make a decision here on some really ugly lines. I mean, it could be a game to look at some unders. Looking at James Harden, under 29.5 PRA over his last 10 games. Better numbers than Kawhi Leonard. Numbers against the Kings, 3 out of 4 games. Last 10 games, last 5 games. Odds on his PRA are actually decent on DraftKings and BetMGM, but PointsBet even, FanDuel under, and Caesar slightly over. Yeah, this game is not looking all that great. Let's see. Butler, one taco. Jalen Brunson. There's Jalen Brunson. Jalen Green. Jalen Green has a real tough matchup today with the Wolves, but that looks pretty good, to be honest with you. Jalen Brunson, I'm so tired of that dude. Edwards, yeah, I would think that people will be on that Jalen Green more than the other ones. A, it's the lowest number. B, Rockets still fighting for play-in. And he should see a shit ton of minutes today. Man. I wouldn't mind going under Jimmy Butler's PRA, like the real line, and then under on Edwards too. PG over points, rebounds, Kawhi RA over Zubac PR, Sabonis over PRA. Man, you like the overs for that game. Let's see. Rebounds and assists. Where are we at? Kawhi 9 rebounds and assists. Paul George 8.5 rebounds and assists. Zubac over PR. Paul George bounced back. Did anybody play Paul George last game from the 2 games ago where we were all on his PRA at 28.5 and he came out there and just didn't do anything? The very next game he goes out there, I think he scores like 30 points. He hits his PRA in points. That is what Paul George does. That's what makes it so frustrating when he has a bad game, is because you know he can do that shit. You just happen to pick him on the days where he gives you 16. It was against Orlando, though, so that's a pretty sticky matchup. Yeah, if you're taking the overs on these players, it's going to be because of the history versus the Kings, the history versus the Clippers, because these odds are just not. They're just kind of like right there in the middle, in my opinion. Although this PR does look good for Paul George, and every time I say a prop looks good for Paul George, he comes out and doesn't do it. So maybe I should just say this looks terrible for Paul George. He's terrible. He's the worst player. And see if that works. But yeah, his last 10 games looked pretty strong. I just happened to pick him on the games where he does that. Let's see. Jalen, you said Sabonis is going to rob everybody tonight? Why? You think he goes over? You think everyone's going to take the under on him? What's going on, Darrell? Good morning. All right. All right. Let's see. I feel like that Clippers and Milwaukee or Clippers and Kings game is a lot of guesswork. If you the point total in that game is what? 220, 221? 1.5 point spread. 1.5 point spread on Fliff. And then 3 on WinBet. So it's looking like a close game between these two. 224 points or 221 points for game total. That is the third, fourth, fifth. It's the fifth or sixth highest point spread on the board. So it's not the highest, it's not the lowest, like right there in the middle. So I mean, everything is shaping up for a high scoring game and a non-blowout kind of game. So if that environment is what happens, and that's the first check mark, then the second check mark is these guys just got to show up. Okay, I got you. Tuesdays are the most rigged day of the week. Whoever the taco is, I would take the under on the OG line. We say that sometimes. We always say that if you don't like the taco, don't take the under on the taco. Take the under on the original line, you know? I mean, you could take the under on the taco, but that's more risky than taking the over, you know? Because you're getting it at a reduced line. So I think there are some days where that's way more obvious, and other days it just looks like a really good play and you can't find anything wrong with it. But those days where you're like, I don't know about this one, then those are the days that you look to take the under on the OG line. There's nothing wrong with that shit. I think sometimes people feel like because it's a taco, it's number one, free, like it's a lock. And number two, that they have to take the over. They forget that there's another line out there for them to take. Or you got the taco on PrizePicks, go find that line on a different pick'em site and play the under on that line. It doesn't always have to be on PrizePicks. You have options. The late broadcast games are usually the best games. I hope so, man. I hope you win a ton of money today on that game. What's the seeding between those two teams? Clips are what, number 3? And Kings are 6, 7? Or am I lying? Jalen Green's at 35%. He's gonna win that. It's just like the shiny toy. Like whatever line's the lowest, that's what gets selected. It's not always the best line, but I don't mind that one. Let's look it up. Let's look up Jalen Green. All right, so the difference between his OG line of 24.5, is at 24.5. So number one, FanDuel does have it at 23, but the majority of these books have it at 24. So it's not juiced up. It's just on the same page as most of these books. At the original line, you're getting odds for the under. So 20. Obviously, he goes over the same amount of games at 20.5 because he's just been going over that anyway. So you're not going to see any difference here. Now, against the Wolves, if they drop his line down to 20.5, that still doesn't change anything. He's gone over. He went over it here by double. This game back in 2022 was his rookie year. There's just not a big enough sample size here. 2 games this year, 20 and 18. So in 2 games this season, he hasn't even gone over his taco, if that ends up being the taco. Also, on the road over the last 10 games, so still no Sengun. The usage for him remains high, but over his last 10 road games, 60%, 27 points a game. And then at home, 60%, but 23 points a game. And this is based off taco. So just looking at the difference between road and home, his home games aren't as strong as his road games. Different teams, different competition, but road splits still overall look better. That one might not be a bad one, to be honest with you. The Butler and Brunson, I'm just not really feeling those. What's going on, Joey Miller? What's up? Miller time in the house. Okay, Clippers on number 4, Kings. Yeah, so okay, we got a good game between 2 good teams who are going to make the playoffs this season. Close spread, decent point total. Yeah, I think that is shaping up for a good game. Butler destroys the Knicks. His PRA was the one in the taco, 29.5. See, this is what bugs me. If he plays, why do we even need the taco? If he's going over his original line, why are they trying to drop it? That shouldn't even be a taco. Taco should be for players that are like on the fringe, on that line of over and under, and that extra -3, -4 points or whatever gets them into the value. Butler doesn't need a value play to go over based off these game logs. Jalen Green does. That difference of 4 points makes a huge difference. And then Anthony Edwards under his PRA or over his PRA at 30, is it 38.5? 38.5 down to 33.5. Okay. Against Houston, those are his 2 games against Houston over his last 10. If we drop this down to 33.5, he goes over an additional 4 games. So at 33.5, Anthony Edwards has a 70% hit rate over his last 10 games at home. At 33.5, Anthony Edwards has a 90% hit rate over his last 10 games overall. %90 hit rate versus a 50% hit rate. Whereas Jimmy Butler is going over that line no matter what. Anthony Edwards wouldn't be a bad one, assuming Houston can keep this game close. And then if Houston can keep the game close, then on the other side, Jalen Green. I don't think they keep this game close if Jalen Green has a bad game. I don't think Fred VanVleet, Amen Thompson, I think they need everybody to beat the Wolves. I don't think Jalen Green can have a bad game and they keep it close. So that's probably your only hesitation, is that game might not stay close. What's going on, Jesus? Olynyk under 2.5 turnovers. Quickly and Barrett is back. Let's look at it. So usage rate goes down for Olynyk without or with Barrett and Quick, especially with Quickly back. I mean, that's your point guard. So usage rate goes down. When the usage rate goes down, turnovers also, the chances for turnovers go down. So let's put Quickly in the last 10 games. With Quickly in, are all these games as Raptors? As a Raptor? 50% hit rate. With Quickly out, I think that game log is pretty accurate. But let's just make sure. Let's officially take Quickly out. So yeah, it's a huge difference. You got more games him going under with Quickly in, and then with Quickly out, his usage goes up. He's averaging over 3 turnovers in 3 of those games, and he's right at 3. So that one looks good to take the under on his turnovers. All right. Well, I hope we get either Green or Edwards for a taco today, because I don't know if I can stomach another Jalen Brunson taco. Olynyk turnovers. His all-around usage should go down. Now, if Barrett's going to be on a minutes restriction, that might impact it. But if Quickly's in there, I mean, just the fact that you're getting 2 starters back, that should automatically take some usage away from Olynyk. Even if they're on a minutes restriction, just the fact that they're there, it lessens his role. So I think the turnovers definitely under. I think that's in play for sure. All right. For those of y'all who are just joining or have joined within the last 15-20 minutes or so, here are 3 plays that I shared on the stream at the beginning. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to find Duval or Caballero on PrizePicks. If you want to play a Duval prop, look to him on HOTSTREAK. His hits are on HOTSTREAK. Caballero's on HOTSTREAK and Underdog. So that's why it's really important that you play on different pick'em sites, because if you don't, then you're just kind of at the mercy of PrizePicks taking plays off the board. And then Mitchell over his points. We looked at Mitchell points. We looked at his assists, and then we looked at his first quarter points. On underdog, he has a 5 first quarter point prop, which he's hit in 80% of his last 10 games. And that correlates with the full game prop because every point counts. But those are 3 plays that I like. These plays I shared over in the Discord on our free cheat sheet, as well as in the premium cheat sheet. So they're on both. They're on both both cheat sheets. I try to get those cheat sheets out really early in the morning before anything bumps. But by the time we get to the stream, it's been 3.5, 4 hours since that cheat sheet has been published. So I expect a lot of those lines to be taken off the board. Tell you what, before we dip out, let's go over Odd Shopper. Let's see if there's anything that's popping that we can look at here that we can play on a pick'em site. Obviously, you can play these anywhere if you have access to books, DraftKings, FanDuel, SportsBet. Not SportsBet. Is it SportsBet? I don't think that's called SportsBet. Green under rebounds, Giannis under rebounds, Tatis over 1.5 total bases. Ketel Marte, home run prop for Ketel Marte, plus 500 odds, which those are actually pretty good odds for a home run. You're never gonna get minus 140 odds for a home run. But Tatis over 1.5 total bases on PrizePicks. The closest one you're going to find. Oh, he does have it. So on PrizePicks, he does have a total base prop of 1.5. Ketel Marte. To go over 0.5 home run. He does not have a home run prop on PrizePicks, but he does have a fantasy score of 7.5. If he hits a home run, he obviously gets you his hitter fantasy score. He has a demon total base prop of 2.5. Oh, he does have a home run prop on PrizePicks. So yeah, you can play his home run demon on PrizePicks. You can play his total base prop demon on PrizePicks. You can even play his 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs demon on PrizePicks, because with a home run, he goes over all of those. So you have your fair share of choices over on PrizePicks. Let's see. Machado over 1.5 total bases. Jose Barrios and Jabari Smith under 22.5 PRA. You want to check out the PrizePicks optimizer. We'll see the top plays graded out plus EV. There is no bias here. There is no like gut feeling with these. These are all just numbers. So that may not be everybody's cup of tea, but it does take the research out of the process for you. And it's just spitting out the best plays and how they're grading out. And that's really it. So if you're not a research buff, you don't like spending time researching, plus EV, basing it off the odds, basing it off the expected win rate, that might be a better route for you. So our first NBA play on the board is Giannis under 13.5 rebounds. I thought that was Kyle Kuzma at first. Kurt Zoma, that's not an NBA play at all. Jaden McDaniels under 12.5 points. Naz Reid under 17.5 points. Over in the Discord, I do share plus EV plays as well. In the free section, I try to get at least 4 plus EV plays out to everybody. And then in the premium section, I generate 2 to 3 plus EV slips for underdog and PrizePicks. You can tell those exactly how they are, or you can just pick and choose the player props that you like the best. I've had some good success just doing it like this. I like doing the research too much, so I play plays based off a bunch of different logic, but this is one of them, the plus EV logic. If you're interested in seeing what Underdog has up on the board for plus EV plays, you may see a few of the same players, but right off the top, you have Garrett Crochet under 5.5 strikeouts. You have Giannis again under his rebound prop. There's Jaden McDaniels again under his 12.5 points. Denny Avia to go under double-double. Naz Reid. So you're seeing a lot of the same players. Bam under 10.5 rebounds. Kessler under points. It looks like there is way more value on Underdog for NBA and NBA than it was on PrizePicks. So you may want to build a slip or two out on Underdog. There seems to be a lot of good value out there right now. All right. Let's pop over to the PrizePicks dashboard. One last check. I did go ahead and add the Tatis total base prop, and you can see that Ketel Marte has 2, 4, 6, 7 total props. All but 2 are demons. So if you don't want to risk the demon, you can go total bases, or you can go fantasy score. I like it when we get fantasy score, or I like it when we get home run props for players, because everything kind of falls under that home run umbrella. If they hit a home run, they go over RBI prop, they go over run prop, they go over total base prop, they go over hits, runs, and RBI prop, they go over fantasy score prop. So when you see a player that's projected to hit a home run or is getting good odds to hit a home run, start looking at their alternate lines, because you might be able to find some value there. And if the team is in a good spot, then you can stack batters in that lineup, maybe a 2-3 man stack, and really, really leverage a home run prop. Because if runners are on, then somebody else is getting on base and scoring a run. So it doesn't always work. It is a little risky, kind of putting all your eggs in one basket. But if you got an extra $5 to play to throw on a 6-pick flex, adding a home run prop, I mean, that's going to boost. It's going to boost your payout big time. All right, what else we got? What's going on, Damien? Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, hit that like button on your way out. We're about to dip out today. We went over quite a few plays today. We didn't do as many rounds today. I did share my plays, and then in addition, if you didn't see it at the beginning of the stream, I did share my 4-bagger swagger call. It's Ellie De La Cruz to hit a home run today. You can play his home run prop on PrizePicks. Actually, you can play his fantasy score on PrizePicks, and you can play his home run prop on HOTSTREAK. Unless they added his home run prop on PrizePicks, it was not there. But the two correlate. If he hits a home run, he goes over fantasy score. 7.5 is his fantasy score on PrizePicks. Or you can play his home run prop on HOTSTREAK. So we got a few different players that are in pretty good spots based off odds to go over 0.5 home run. De La Cruz, Ketel Marte. But that's the 4-bagger swagger call, in addition to the 3 plays that I shared earlier. So that's a total of 4 plays. I already shared my slips over in the Discord. I'll share a couple in the free section as well, but a lot of information over there, a lot of player props over there. Yesterday, we go 2-2 with our free cheat sheet. Jabari Walker fucked that up. And then in our premium cheat sheet, we finished 8-4. So 67% hit rate with our premium cheat sheet. So looking to average in that 65 to 68% hit rate each day. Some days will be higher, other days will be lower, but in that near 70% hit rate, it's a pretty strong hit rate day over day for the members. So trying to bring that value every single day. Hopefully we get some good breaks today. Hopefully we don't get any bullshit from the NBA, and hopefully our tacos hit no matter what they are. Hope they all hit. We need it. We need it after these last couple of weeks. These tacos have been disgusting. These tacos have been like Greek yogurt tacos. Just think of the nastiest shit you want to eat and throw it in a taco. That's what these tacos have been. Asparagus and spam tacos. That's what these tacos have been the last few weeks. Hopefully today we get some good ass tacos, some food truck street tacos, and we have a lot to celebrate. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you're still here, you lasted this long, consider subbing up to the channel. Definitely hit the like button on your way out. Means a ton, helping this channel get bigger every single day. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. live stream, talking about some wins, talking about some profits, maximum profit, minimal turds. As I always say, best of luck to you all. I hope all of your player props respect the damn coin. And until tomorrow's 9 a.m. player prop talk live stream, Chavez is out.